I was too much use.
Actually, this is the first time I can use like
Pass.
The governor thought every man had a price. When he saw the farmer's land sitting on the most valuable piece of territory in the region, he arrived with a wagon full of money and a simple offer. Name your price. What happened next shocked everyone. Because the farmer refused a fortune that could have made him richer than he had ever dreamed. The governor increased the offer again, and again, and again. But the farmer still said no. People called him crazy. They thought he was protecting the land. They were wrong. What the governor didn't know was that an Apache woman had already given this farmer something far more valuable than gold, money, or power. Something so precious that no amount of wealth could ever replace it. And when the truth was finally revealed, it sparked a conflict that would change all of their lives forever. Stay with us, because this is the incredible story of a poor farmer, an Apache woman, and the priceless gift that made a governor's fortune look worthless. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories of love, courage, and unforgettable choices. Now, without wasting any more time, let's dive straight into today's story. The farmer lived a quiet life on a small piece of land at the edge of the valley. He was not rich, and he never expected to be. Each morning, he woke before sunrise, worked his fields, cared for his animals, and returned home tired but satisfied. To most people, his land looked ordinary, just acres of soil surrounded by hills and scattered trees. But to him, it was the most valuable thing he owned. His father had farmed the same land before him, and his grandfather before that. Every corner held a memory. The old oak tree near the creek reminded him of childhood afternoons spent with his family. The fields carried years of hard work, sacrifice, and hope. It was more than property, it was a part of who he was. As the years passed, the region began to attract attention. Traders discovered valuable resources nearby, and wealthy investors started looking for land to purchase. Prices rose quickly, and rumors spread that the farmer's property sat on one of the most desirable locations in the territory. The news eventually reached the governor. A powerful man accustomed to getting whatever he wanted, he saw the land not as a home but as an opportunity. The location was perfect for his ambitious plans, and he believed no farmer would refuse the amount of money he was prepared to offer. After learning everything he could about the property, the governor made his decision. He would buy the land at any cost. A few days later, a carriage rolled down the dusty road toward the farmer's house, carrying the governor himself and an offer that would leave the entire valley speechless. Word of the governor's visit spread through the valley before the sun had even set. Neighbors gathered near the farmer's property, eager to learn what had happened. When they heard the amount of money being offered, many could hardly believe it. The governor had placed a fortune on the table, more wealth than the farmer could earn in several lifetimes. Standing beside his carriage, the governor smiled confidently. He was certain the deal would be completed within minutes. Men had sold their homes, businesses, and even family land for far less. To him, every person had a price. The farmer listened respectfully as the governor explained the offer. The amount was so large that it left the crowd whispering in amazement. Some villagers were already imagining what they would do with such wealth. They expected the farmer to accept immediately. Instead, he quietly shook his head. The crowd fell silent. The governor assumed he had not offered enough. With a slight laugh, he increased the amount. Gasps echoed across the gathering. Once again, the farmer refused. The governor's smile slowly disappeared. Determined to win, he raised the offer yet again. This time the sum was so enormous that several villagers could barely comprehend it. Yet the farmer's answer remained exactly the same. No. Soon rumors spread throughout the valley. Some claimed the farmer had lost his senses. Others believed he was playing a dangerous game to force the governor into offering even more money. Among the crowd stood an Apache woman who watched everything in silence. Unlike everyone else, she showed no surprise at the farmer's decision. Her calm expression suggested she already knew why he would never sell. As the governor prepared one final and unbelievable offer, the Apache woman looked toward the land and whispered, "There are things in this world worth far more than gold." Years before the governor arrived, the farmer's life had been very different. A severe drought had struck the valley, destroying crops and leaving many families struggling to survive. Day after day, He watched his fields dry beneath the relentless sun. His savings disappeared, his animals grew weak, and hope slowly slipped away. One afternoon, while searching for water near the hills, he met an Apache woman. She noticed his exhaustion and offered him help. At first, he was cautious, but her kindness quickly earned his trust. She showed him hidden springs known only to her people and taught him ways to protect his crops during difficult seasons. Over time, a friendship formed between them. They came from different worlds, yet they shared the same respect for the land and the same understanding of hardship. Whenever challenges arose, they helped one another without expecting anything in return. As the years passed, the Apache woman revealed something she had never told anyone outside her tribe. The farmer's land held deep meaning to her people. Long before settlers arrived, it had been a place where families gathered, stories were shared, and important promises were made. Though the land legally belonged to the farmer, its history belonged to many generations. One evening, she gave him a small handmade pouch containing a simple stone. To anyone else, it looked worthless. But she explained that it symbolized trust, honor, and the responsibility to protect what truly mattered. By giving it to him, she was placing her faith in him. The farmer never forgot that moment. The stone reminded him that wealth could be counted, spent, and lost. Trust could not. That was why the governor's fortune meant nothing to him. The land represented something far greater than money, and the promise he had made was priceless. The governor's patience finally ran out. After hearing rejection after rejection, he demanded an explanation. He could not understand why a simple farmer would walk away from enough money to change his life forever. "What could possibly be worth more than this?" he asked, pointing to the documents and bags of gold his men had brought. The crowd waited in silence. For the first time, the farmer stepped forward and decided to tell the truth. He spoke about the drought years, the hardships he had faced, and the Apache woman who had helped him when he had nearly lost everything. Then he revealed the promise he had made, to protect the land and honor the history connected to it. Many villagers looked confused. To them, land was something that could be bought and sold. They struggled to understand why memories and promises should matter more than wealth. The Apache woman then stepped forward. Calmly, she explained what the land meant to her people. Generations before, their ancestors had gathered there during times of peace. Important decisions had been made beneath the old trees. Families had celebrated births, mourned losses, and passed their stories to their children on that very ground. As she spoke, the crowd began to see the land differently. It was no longer just a valuable piece of property. It was a living record of lives, sacrifices, and traditions. The governor listened carefully. For the first time, he realized that he had judged the situation only through the lens of money. He had assumed that value could always be measured in gold. Now he understood that some things carried a worth no fortune could match. The valley fell silent as everyone turned toward the governor. He had the power to continue the fight or respect the truth he had just heard. The decision he made next would determine the future of the land forever. For a long moment, the governor said nothing. The entire valley seemed to hold its breath as they waited for his answer. He looked across the fields, the old trees, and the faces of the people gathered around him. Then his eyes settled on the farmer and the Apache woman. At last, he understood what neither gold nor power could buy. Slowly, the governor folded the purchase documents and handed them back to one of his men. "The land is yours," he said, "and it should remain yours." A wave of surprise moved through the crowd. No one had expected the governor to walk away from something he wanted so badly. The farmer felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had been prepared to defend his decision no matter the cost, but now the battle was over. The promise he had made years earlier would remain unbroken. The Apache woman smiled quietly. The small stone she had given him had never been about the object itself. Its true value was the trust behind it and the courage required to honor that trust when it mattered most. One by one, the villagers began to understand. The governor's fortune could have provided comfort, luxury, and security. But money alone could never replace history, loyalty, respect, and the bonds between people. In the days that followed, the story spread far beyond the valley. Travelers shared it in towns and settlements, and each time it was told, the lesson remained the same. People often spend their lives chasing wealth, believing it is the greatest treasure they can possess. Yet the most valuable things are often the ones that cannot be bought at all. Trust earned through kindness, promises kept through sacrifice, and a legacy preserved for future generations. And so the farmer kept his land, the Apache woman kept her faith in him, and the governor left with something unexpected, the understanding that some treasures are simply priceless.